ABC News. Around the world and into your home, the stories that touch your life. With Hugh Downs and Barbara Walters. This is 2020 Thursday. Tonight, they were happily married for 25 years. They had children, a life together, until one day she realized she was a lesbian and loved another woman.
I started to cry because I couldn't be gay. I was straight. I was married. I had children.
Women discovering secrets about themselves in middle age.
I had been in this marriage for 17 years, and I had 2 beautiful children. And where in the world was the word lesbian going to fit into that?
Their husbands stunned by the news.
There was no question that we were very happy together sexually.
Wives, mothers, coming out, throwing families into turmoil. John Stossel with women struggling with the voice within. A change of heart.
Family together, never knowing that she's a lesbian. And how could a woman who loves her husband and her children suddenly realize that she's gay? Sound unlikely? Well, the experts tell us that more and more married women are coming out in midlife and making a mid-course correction in their sexual identity.
Their families are understandably shocked and dismayed by the news. How could something so fundamental have been kept secret from them for so long? But John Stossel found that it's often the women themselves who are the most surprised by the discovery.
If you guys are going to eat, I need you to eat in here. And homework do you have?
Algebra and American history.
15 years ago, Jenny Lang of Cincinnati, Ohio, got married.
I met a wonderful man and fell in love and married him.
Fell in love.
Oh, yeah. He's a great guy.
He is Andy Simpson. They had 2 children.
I always knew I'd get married, have 2 kids. They were going to be a boy and a girl. I was going to live what's called the American dream.
And at first, it seemed like the American dream. Everything was going great. But 10 years into the marriage, she began to feel something was wrong.
I couldn't see anything wrong with my husband. He seemed like the perfect guy, so what was wrong with me? No, I don't think there was anything wrong with me. I think I was just different than I expected to be.
Jenny Lang came to realize that she was a lesbian.
Everybody was stunned because, you know, to every outward sign, it's not like we were faking. I mean, I was along with it too. I thought, oh yeah, everything's great. We were a happy couple, and all of a sudden, you know, with no warning, just boom.
The first time she told you,
my first response was, no, you can't be gay because it doesn't make sense, because you can respond to me, so how can you be gay?
Andy says when he started dating Jenny, she told him she'd had same-sex experiences in high school. But she and Andy dismissed that as youthful experimentation, and they say their sex life together was good.
We had a very active sex life for 7 or 8 years, and then it started to calm down to maybe 2 or 3 times a week.
Calm down to 2 or 3 times a week. So,
yeah.
So you were...
Yeah, I mean, there was no question that we were very happy together sexually.
You had sex with him for years. It was pleasurable?
Sure.
So what's the problem? Why do you need to get away from that?
What makes sex the only thing that we're talking about here? Being a lesbian only has to do with sex.
Oh, it's not about sex.
Psychologist Hope Wine works with a number of women who, in midlife, in mid-marriage, decided they are gay. She says sex is just part of being a lesbian.
It has to do with emotional attachment. It has to do with who you can fall in love with, who you can be intimate with.
When I was growing up, being gay was not an option. It wasn't anything you even thought about. You never considered it, at least not anyone that I knew.
Robin Cordry of Boston was still in nursing school when she met her husband, Steve. They fell in love, were married for more than 25 years. They have 3 grown children.
I would characterize our marriage as an excellent marriage. I had an excellent sex life. Over the 25 years we were married, I was not attracted to females.
So how did she become a lesbian?
You can't say that something turned you gay. It just happens. I don't know how to explain it. It just, all of a sudden, you realize that you are.
For Robin, it happened after her youngest son left for college. She became increasingly involved in her church and on a religious retreat met an openly gay woman, Deb Spence.
I looked up and she smiled, and I felt like somebody hit me in the head with a 2x4. Actually, they hit me in the heart with a 2x4. There was no question that I was in love with her. And then I started to cry because I couldn't be gay. I was straight. I was married. I had children. You don't turn gay. Well, you discover you're gay sometimes. It just happens.
I thought it was a crush. I didn't think she was serious. She was happily married, and I just couldn't believe that she would love me.
Many women have these feelings, says Dr. Wine, but don't let them out.
When one is aware of their same-sex attractions and they're married, they feel terrified.
I was in a heterosexual marriage. I had been in this marriage for 17 years, and I had 2 beautiful children. And where in the world was the word lesbian going to fit into that?
Laura Cowan of Colorado Springs married Ron Cowan when she was 21. They raised a family. But unlike Jenny and Robin, Laura always thought there was a problem.
I just didn't seem to feel that same passion and sexual desire that I kept hearing other women talk about. And I thought there was something wrong with me.
It wasn't until last year that Laura finally realized she was a lesbian.
Midlife is a trigger. I no longer want to pretend. I want to be myself. I want to be autonomous. This is my turn. Now it's my life.
And until now, these women didn't know they were gay?
They made a decision not to be gay, that it was too threatening to be gay. They wanted to fit in. They wanted to be accepted.
Dr. Wine and other experts say many women were not aware of their feelings for other women. They never let it into their minds, perhaps because it was so unacceptable when they grew up in the 1950s and 60s. Others denied their sexual orientation to themselves because it threatened their dreams of marriage and children.
You have built this whole entire life around being heterosexual. You can't go to your husband and say, oh, by the way, I just figured something out. I'm gay. You can't go to your children and say, you know, things might be really changing for you because I'm gay.
But the feelings inside her were too powerful to ignore. When we come back, John Stossel continues. Mothers and wives coming out. What does it do to their children? How will their families survive after this? How well can a man really know his wife? And how well do children know their mother? John Stossel continues now with women who, after years of marriage, come to realize they are lesbians. What do they do next? How can they tell their families?
To protect her sons and the rest of her family, Laura tried to bury her newfound sexual identity, but that just made her depressed.
It consumes you because you have waited to figure this out all your life. And all you want to do is talk about it. And there's not a soul in the world that you feel like you can talk about it with.
Finally, she told her husband she was attracted to women. His hopes for their future were no more.
It was kind of hard to know that this was going to go away.
Ron now lives alone and shares custody of their 2 sons. He still mourns the end of his marriage.
I guess the hardest part is knowing that I love her so much that I want her to be happy. And in her being happy, you know, this is going to be the end.
In Boston, Robin's husband, Steve, was dumbfounded.
It was extremely bizarre because I had known Robin, of course, we'd been married for 25 years. You know, and for her, I thought this was a person I really knew.
I was horrified at the fact that I would have to hurt a man I'd loved more than half my life.
I think I probably cried more that night and immediate nights after that than I ever had before. And I know that she did too.
And my kids. I was going to destroy a family, and that broke my heart.
She said, I'm leaving your father.
Nate Cordry is 20.
My sister started to, you know, cry and just flip out, and I'm gay. and I just completely blown away. I've been used to, you know, perfect family for 17 years. And the first time I saw my father cry was right then. And that killed me right there. I mean, you don't see your father cry too often.
Nate thought about screaming at his mother.
Of course I was upset, but if I lashed out and screamed at her, that wouldn't have solved any problems. But tell her that, you know, I love you and it's for the best, and I know it's for the best.
If I could do anything to change the hurt, I would. But I can't. There's nothing I can do except go on and try to help whenever I can to make it better. That's all I can do.
Why not stay married for the family, for the kids?
God, that's such a tough question. Why? Why stay married?
Because families are good. Kids need a mom and dad there, and you and your husband liked each other.
Yep. We lived the American dream that I planned on. It worked. It was successful. And I was suicidal. I was miserable. I can't even describe to you the depths that I would go to. I would stay awake till 4 in the morning trying to be happy. Just trying to convince myself that I was happy. After a while, you can't keep doing that. It just gets to be too much.
You had to tell the children.
That was the point of contention. We had to tell the children something.
At first, they told their children, Jesse and Austin, only that they were getting divorced. It wasn't until a year later that they told them why.
Now that I look back on it, I'm very grateful that they did this, because I couldn't have dealt with, you know, the divorce and finding out about her.
I was incredibly surprised. I was shocked that my mother was a lesbian. My first reaction was, what? No, you've got that wrong. That's not who you are.
Jesse took it better than Austin, who just went cold and wanted to leave the room.
I started to walk out, and she goes, Austin, get back here. And I turn around very slowly, and I walk very slowly back to my mom. She goes, I want you to let it out now. And I let it out. I screamed, I cried, I said, it's not true, it can't be true.
He worried what his friends would say.
I was afraid my friends would find out and they wouldn't like me anymore. For like maybe 20 minutes, I hated my mom because of this.
How do you feel about it now?
Now, I'd have to say I am really cool with it. I tell myself, you know, deal. I cannot dislike a person merely because of who they love.
It's hard to have a parent that is gay or lesbian. It is. I'm not going to go around saying, it's fine, it's happy, everything's okay, because it's not. It's really hard telling your friends, you know, why don't we ever see your mom with a boyfriend, or is your mom ever going to get married? And no, I just don't think so. But it is all right. I'm used to it now, and it's okay.
Life goes on. Their father, Andy, met another woman. And on the day we were in Cincinnati, he told Jenny he was engaged.
Today, I just found out he's getting married again. And, oh, it broke my heart. Not because I want to be married to him, because we're beyond that now. But that's a loss. That's the end of something special.
Laura Cowan says she's beginning something special. She's just started her first lesbian relationship. Robin Cordry and her partner, Deb Spence, recently bought this house together.
Home, dog. I expect to spend the rest of my life with her. It's scary because I expected to do that before. I expected to spend the rest of my life with Steve, but it didn't work.
This time, with Deb, Robin hopes it will be different.
I know that we were meant to be together. She's a woman. She understands how a woman feels more than a man could ever understand. Not that men don't understand things. Men are nice. I love men. But it's different. It's a different feeling.
I think once you've opened the door to who you really are, whoever that is, you can't ever close that door.
As for Jenny, she was in a steady relationship for 2 years. But now she's single again, and times have been tough.
Still is. 2 o'clock in the morning, waking up, realizing I had everything, and I gave it up. I gave it up for the right reasons, because I couldn't survive the way I was going. But I gave it up. And I'm not alone. I got 2 kids. I had this husband. Yeah. There's tough times.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Later tonight. You know, Hugh, as society becomes more open, we learn how little we know. Sexual preferences, is it environment? Are we born that way?
Yeah, it's really weird. And we do tend still to think of sex as polarized, male, female. It's just much more complicated than that.
Much more.